Hi, welcome. In this video, I'll be replacing a cracked screen. This is the iPad 9 generation. If you're not sure, take a look at the back of the iPad. You can see that the model, it says A2602. So the model A2602, that is for iPad 9 generation. And let's go ahead and get started to get the screen replaced. So the first thing I like to do is to turn off the iPad. Press and hold the power button and slide to the right to get it turned off. Always have the safety goggle. You want to protect your eyes at all time. Do not want to work with broken glass. Anything that comes with the glass might fly into your eyes or your face. So always safety first. Protect yourself. Get the safety goggle going on. Here I have the heat gun. Let's go ahead and heat up the iPad. As you can see, I'm heating up the iPad. I do not stay in one position like that, because if you do so, you're putting a lot of heat in one corner. You might actually damage the LCD screen. So what you want to do is you want to move it around so that the heat get not concentrated in one area. You just want to have an even heat all around the iPad, and therefore you can have the adhesive to get softened. The goal is to soften the adhesive. Therefore, you can use the metal prying tool to go underneath that adhesive tape and start removing those broken glass. Alright, so do not stay in one position and overheat them, because you might damage the internal part of it. Okay, so keep doing that. Be very careful when it comes to the top side of the iPad. That is where the front camera is. And as you can see, when I'm heating up the iPad, I do not heat up the entire iPad all around the corner like that, because I'm going to work on the right side of the iPad. So my focus here is just going to be on the right side of it. There's no sense to heat up the entire iPad on the left side, because by the time when you wanted to work on the left, it might get hardened, right? The adhesive right now is softened because of the heat, and if you don't go fast enough to the other side of the iPad, then the adhesive may get hardened. It gets cold. When it gets cold, it gets hardened, right? So so you just want to heat up a small section by section where you are going to work. You don't have to heat up the entire iPad. So that is one thing. You'll be noticing that I only work on the right side at this point. Therefore, I just heat up on the right side. You always want to have a trash right next to you. As I'm removing the broken glass, some of the glass are stuck to the prying tool. I just wanted to, have the trash next to me so that I can easily throw them away. Okay, at this point I have most of the tape here is off of the iPad. So to replace the screen, what I'm doing is I'm saving up the home button as well as the Retina display LCD, so that two things are being reused again. The only thing that we change would be the glass, the digitizer. Okay, when it comes to the bottom part of your iPad here, you want to be extra careful with it, because the bottom part right next to the home button is where the Wi-Fi antenna is, and also the home button flex cable run across here at the bottom right. So you want to be very careful when you heat it up. Do not overheat, and do not cut the cables. using the heat gun in this video. If you do not have a heat gun, you can always use a hair dryer. A hair dryer also allows you to soften the adhesive, but the hair dryer is not as strong as the heat gun. It just takes a longer time for it to heat it up, therefore it just take a longer time, but otherwise it's the same function. The goal is to warm up the adhesive so that you can remove the glass. Alright, so there's going to be a lot of cleaning the broken glass here, so keep that in mind. It's not very easy to replace a broken glass on this. And right now, while the thing is still warm, I am trying to remove the flex cable. I'm paying a very close attention to the home button right here, removing the adhesive as well as the flex cable, just kind of sliding it underneath that and then peeling the cable, peeling it off. Okay. And we're going to reuse that flex cable, which is for the home button right here. Okay, so I think it's a success. The thing is removed completely as the entire piece, just like so. Alright, at this point here, what I like to do is to go ahead and cut off the cable here. I know that some of you may say something to me, meaning that I did not disconnect the battery and I start cutting the cable. Well, it is turned off, I know that one thing for sure, but there might be some current running through the from the iPad, but it is okay. I've done it before, cutting off the flex cable. What I mean by that is I'm cutting off the Digitizer, the two flex cable right there, so I just cut them off at this point. Alright, so let's go ahead and clean the table. Alright, the next step is to remove the remaining broken glass. You want to come back here and gently peel those broken glass off. Here you can see that the adhesive tape is still taping onto the iPad, so let's go ahead and remove that tape because we're going to apply with the new tape. We can't reuse the adhesive tape once the thing is being used, so you need to actually peel the thing off, and that would be the original adhesive tape. Alright, at this point here, what I like to pay attention focus on is to remove the LCD screen. This is the Retina LCD screen. Clean the table a little bit first. Yes, a lot of broken glass hanging around. I'll be using a tweezer. I want to go underneath that, peel the plastic cover back a little bit and expose that tiny little screw. Get a Phillips screwdriver. I'll be using the 1.5 millimeter. Remove that screw. Lots of broken glass here. I want to come back and clean it off. Right now, let me focus on removing the LCD screen. Same thing on the other side of it. Peel that cover off and remove that screw. Okay, now the screws are already removed. The LCD screen are still stuck to it. The reason why, because they have this black adhesive glue that is gluing down the side of the LCD. So right now I'm using the tweezer. I'm scraping off. Do you see that thing? Yep, I'm scraping off that little gooey gel, whatever you want to call that. That is the glue. That is glue right around that bracket of the LCD. So when you're removing it, I'm just kind of scraping it off, cutting all that glue so that it doesn't stick, so that it doesn't hold onto the screen. Alright, so I can see that I'm free on the top right corner. You're gonna come here and work on the top left corner. Okay, once you have freed the LCD screen, just kind of tilt it towards your body, towards yourself, tilt it up, and get the Phillips screwdriver, remove the 3 screws and the bracket. I'll be using a plastic prying tool, going underneath that connector and gently pry open that LCD connector. Okay, we have the screen here on the side. We're going to come back and reuse that. The next step is to go ahead and pry open that digitizer cable that I cut earlier. So that's when I cut it off. This time I like to just shake off some of those broken glass that got stuck inside the iPad. I'm gonna knock it off. You can see that some of them are still here. Okay, once you're done with cleaning up the iPad, the next step is to reinstall the screen. But before we do that, let's go ahead and peel this little thing off, because we need to reinstall that little home button right here. Do not forget to peel this thing. This is the film for the internal part of that, so peel it off. Now here might be a bit of a challenge because the home button has to be installed right here. And when you install, you definitely need to have some kind of a glue to hold the bracket, right? Because this right here is the bracket that is pushing from behind, so that when you press on the top of the screen here, the home button, the bracket is the one that supports and hold it, so that you can feel the little clicker that is clicking. Okay, so I'll be using this super glue. I just felt that clicker is clicking, so right now I'm in the right position. I'm just gonna give a little small tiny little glue, just a very tiny drip, maybe a size of half a grain, a tiny little size, like maybe half a grain, that tiny little drop, and then just press it down gently. When you press it, you're gonna the gel is gonna get ooze out, so do not put a lot of it. Okay, so while you're pressing it down right now, I like to feel the clicker. I can feel it, and I can click it on the other side of it, so I know I'm in the right position. I'm just gonna let the glue rest. Okay, looks like the glue is starting to get hardened. I'll let the magic works on its own. I need to come back and focus on closing up the screen. So this is where I like to focus, is the two of the flex cable, that when you push it back to the LCD screen, I mean to the iPad connector, making sure that you want to gently and push it in. Do not force it in. If you force it and you damage that connector right here, then you're out of luck, because those connectors are not replaceable, are not repairable. So the goal is to not to force it in. The goal is to align carefully, making sure that it's aligned, positioned nicely before you close it in. If you need to lay down your head, okay, if you need to do whatever it takes to align that, please go ahead and do that. Okay. I hope I have them aligned properly, correctly. I can't really tell. I do feel like a bit of a tension is being pulled at this time, because the new screen is already comes with the adhesive that is gluing it down. So I do feel like the cable is being pulled. When I do it, aligned it, it looks like the screen is slightly lower. Like you see that the screen is slightly lower than the iPad. It has to be up. When I push it up a little bit, I can feel like the cable is being pulled at one side. I'm not sure if this is the cable shortage, like the length, but we'll find out. So I like to come and turn on the iPad. Okay, while the iPad is turning on, the couple of things that we would like to try to make sure that it works is like the home button, making sure it works, the touch screen, all that thing. Alright, I do see like the iPad is not responding well. It's kind of automatically clicks on its own. I don't like that already. You see that? See? So that tells me that the digitizer is not good. This is why I do not like about some of the third-party screen that comes in. I'm not sure if it's the screen problem or if it's the sensor here on the side that is touching it. It just in a way that making things are very complicated. Now it's gonna force me to disconnect the battery because I did not turn off the iPad. I'm gonna stick the plastic prying tool. Okay. Let me try again. Let's turn on the iPad once more. Now I do not have the digitizer connected. I like to see if the behavior of the touching ghost, the ghost touch, is it still exists or not. I'm not able to tell because I have to wait for a minute. One thing I know for sure is that the home button works. Every time I press, it shows me display. Okay, now I get the display. I press the home button. It looks like the iPad is not acting when the digitizer connector is not connected to it. So that is a good sign. Good sign meaning that something is probably coming from the screen. It's not from the iPad alone. So let's go ahead and reconnect them back together. I'm going to remove the screen. I know that the iPad is still on. This is not the right way to do it. But let's go ahead and disconnect the battery. I'm kind of glad that this thing happened to me. At least I get to show it to you. But of course I do not want this to happen to anybody. one time I was having a hard time with the cable. I was trying to put it in, and in a way I damaged the connector. So the connector, meaning the connector not on the new screen, but the connector on the iPad itself. So that was a bummer. Okay, so let's try it again. If it happens again, then I'll try a different screen. It's not turning on. What's going to happen? Did I not screw the battery tight enough? Did I miss any screw? Looks like there is missing screw. So I'll tighten it up, and let's try again. Alright, there you go. You do need to have the screw to hold it together, because the battery connector is not like anything. It was just touching together by simply one of the screw to screw and hold it in. Okay, I really do not like this 1 minute thing. Hurry up and get it going. All right, so let's see. Okay. Okay, we'll see what happens next. Let's see if I can have the screen somewhat being closed here. Press it. Sorry about that. I should not be exposing some of the pictures right here. I'm trying to cover it up. Alright, so it looks like it's clear at this point. I want to just continue repairing the iPad, finishing it up. Let's put it down here for a second. All right, everything looks okay to me. At this point here, I just want to kind of end the video because everything seems to be working okay. It doesn't have any ghost touch. You don't see the thing is touching on its own anymore, which is great. So the next step I'd like to do is to go ahead and install this double-sided adhesive tape. I like to use the third-party adhesive tape. I'll be using the this is the, I believe this is 5mm. I might be wrong with it, but this is 2mm, so this is 2mm. 2mm is the thickness of the adhesive tape. I like to re-tape the iPad again because the original, not the original, because the new screen that comes with it, as you can see that the new screen does have this adhesive tape where you come in and peel it off. You peel this thing and you can go ahead and tape it down, but I do not like to use this tape because this tape here is not sticky enough. At some time it would just come off the screen, so I like to use the third-party ones. Check the link down description below. What I'll do is I'll link it to either Amazon or eBay, where you can find the tools for the repair, the replacement screen for this purpose, some of the glue that you need to buy, things like that. All right, thanks for watching. Until next time, good luck with the repair and bye now.